The ballroom shimmered under 1,000 crystal lights, the chandeliers dripping gold and glass like frozen rain. The crowd, an assembly of Los Angeles's most glittering elite, parted as the tall, elegant figure of Sophia Hartman swept through the room. She wore a midnight blue gown that seemed spun from stardust, her auburn hair cascading in loose waves over one shoulder, her eyes sharp green, knowing scanned the faces with practiced charm. In her wake, camera flashes burst like miniature lightning storms, paparazzi elbowing for a better shot. Ms. Hartman, this way, Sophia over here. She smiled, not too wide, just enough to tantalize. This was her night. Another award, another triumph, another headline for the world to devour. At 37, Sophia Hartman was a self-made sensation, the girl from nowhere who rose to dominate fashion, film and social media. Millions adored her, brands begged for her endorsement, Hollywood directors vied for her gaze. To outsiders, she was perfection, beauty brain success wrapped in one enviable package. But beneath the glittering surface, the night hid a shadow. As she mounted the stage to accept her Icon of the Year award, the applause thundered. Her voice, clear and melodic, echoed through the grand room. Thank you all. I am humbled. I never imagined this life, this career. None of it would be possible without the people who stood by me when I had nothing. Her words caught for a second, barely perceptible to the audience, but enough to twist her heart. The face that flashed through her mind wasn't her agent or her stylist or the magazine editors in the front row. It was her sister, Eleanor, her once beloved younger sister. But Eleanor wasn't here, hadn't been for years. They hadn't spoken since the fight, since the night that changed everything. As the crowd surged forward, post-ceremony, clamouring for a glimpse or a quote, Sophia pushed through the throng toward the private lounge. Her assistant Carmen trailed behind, already juggling the next day's interviews. "Are you all right?" Carmen asked gently once they reached the secluded space. "I'm fine," the reply was automatic, brittle. "Just tired." Carmen nodded, knowing better than to press. But tired wasn't the word. Haunted, maybe. Restless. Because beneath her empire of luxury and fame, Sophia carried a hollow ache that no amount of applause could fill. That night, in her penthouse, high above the city, Sophia poured herself a glass of vintage wine and wandered through the darkened rooms. Walls lined with awards covers, couture a shrine to her success, and yet the silence pressed in on her. She tapped her phone mindlessly, scrolling past filtered photos, glowing comments, tabloid headlines. Then, with a deep breath, she opened a folder buried deep in her files, family old. A single image filled the screen. Elena bright-eyed and laughing with Sophia beside her. No makeup, no designer gowns, just sisters on a beach somewhere in a time that felt like another life. A sharp pang lanced through her chest. What had gone so wrong? She traced the memory, trying to pinpoint when the cracks had begun. Their childhood had been close, inseparable, even after their father left. They'd made promises, whispered dreams late at night. But fame had a way of changing everything. Sophia had chased the spotlight first, determined to build a new life after years of struggle. At first, Eleanor had cheered her on, but as the endorsements piled up, the invitations turned elite. The entourage grew, so did the distance between them. There were harsh words, accusations, bitter resentment, and then that final argument, the one that left them estranged. Sophia shook her head, guilt washing over her. She had always told herself there would be time to fix it. But now, so many years had passed. A sharp buzz from her phone jolted her from the spiral. Carmen again. "Sophia, urgent, you need to see this." Attached was a screenshot of a trending news story. Elena Hartman, sister of superstar Sophia, speaks out. Her blood ran cold. She opened the article. Elena more radiant than ever, but with a fierceness in her gaze stared from the headline photo. The interview excerpt stung like a slap. Fame changed my sister. It destroyed our family. The woman the world worships. She's not who you think. Sophia's heart thudded. Her breath caught. The past she'd buried was about to explode in public in the worst possible way. The phone slipped from her fingers onto the polished floor. Outside, the city lights twinkled oblivious. But inside Sophia's world, the perfect facade had just begun to crack. And this time, she wasn't sure she could control what would come next. Sophia stared at the screen, unblinking. The words burned through her like acid. Fame changed my sister. It destroyed our family. Her mind raced. How had this happened? Why now? It wasn't the first time Elena had made bitter remarks in private. Old friends would sometimes whisper things back to her little barbs that stung, but this was different. This was public, a major outlet, and already the headline was climbing the trending charts. A ping from Carmen lit the phone again. "Do you want me to contact PR?" Sophia exhaled sharply, her fingers trembling as she typed back. "Yes. Tell them no comment for now. Get me a full briefing first thing." It was well past midnight, but sleep was out of the question. The city sprawled beneath her, glittering and indifferent while her mind reeled with dread. She paced the penthouse bare feet on cold marble, replaying old conversations, old wounds. It wasn't fair. She had given everything for her career. The sacrifices, the endless hours, the constant scrutiny. She had built an empire from nothing. And yes, maybe she'd been distant. Maybe she'd missed some calls, but she'd wanted to protect her family, to shield them from the madness of celebrity. And yet, here was Elena throwing it all out in public, painting her as some villain. Why, what did she want? The thought twisted deeper. Could this be about money jealousy? Had someone put Elena up to this? And then, softer, harder to dismiss another voice in her mind. Maybe this is your fault. Maybe you abandoned her. Sophia shook her head. No, she had done what she had to do. But still, the guilt gnawed at her. By dawn, the story had spread. Every entertainment feed had picked it up. Feuding sisters was now the narrative, juicy, irresistible. The online mob swarmed with opinions. Sophia Hartman, Ice Queen. Behind the glamour, the rift, tearing the Hartmans apart. Carmen arrived at 6 a.m., sharp coffee in hand, her face tight. "They're calling it the Hartman family war," she said grimly. "Your followers are going crazy. We need a strategy." Sophia rubbed her temples. "I'm not responding publicly. Not yet. I understand. But there's more." Carmen handed her a tablet. Another headline stared back. Elena Hartman sits down with Real Talk Live full interview to air Friday. Sophia's stomach dropped. Real Talk was notorious, sensational, ruthless, watched by millions. "She's going all in," Carmen said softly. "This is going to get worse." Sophia's gaze hardened. She wouldn't panic. She hadn't clawed her way to the top to be undone by scandal. "Schedule a meeting with legal," she said, "and get in touch with my mother. If anyone can talk sense into Eleanor, it's her." But deep down, even as she gave the orders, she knew it wouldn't be that simple. Their mother, Vivian, had grown distant too, worn down by years of tension between her daughters. And Vivian had never understood the world Sophia now lived in. She looked again at the photo of Eleanor in the article. Her sister's face, so familiar, so changed, stared back defiantly. Where had things begun to unravel? The answer came unbidden. 5 years ago. The launch party for Sophia's first major perfume line, a glittering night at the Chateau Marmont. She had invited Eleanor, flown her in, wanting to share the moment. But Elena had shown up late, furious after seeing tabloid photos of Sophia out with a rumoured boyfriend, a man Elena had once dated in college. They'd argued in private, but heatedly. Elena accused her of betrayal, of changing, of forgetting who she was. Sophia, exhausted and defensive, had snapped back. Harsh words. Final words. Neither had spoken since. Until now. Sophia stood at the penthouse window, arms folded tight. The sun was rising, the city waking below. In the distance, she could already hear it, the faint thrum of helicopters, morning news crews. Soon, her name and Eleanor's would be on every screen. Her perfect world was about to fracture wide open, and somewhere deep in her gut, she knew. This wasn't just a publicity mess. It was personal. It always had been. By mid-morning, the media frenzy had reached fever pitch. Sophia's name was everywhere, splashed across morning talk shows, gossip blogs, and social media timelines. Outside her penthouse, a horde of paparazzi had gathered, lenses pointed upward like a siege army. Helicopters buzzed above in lazy circles. Inside, Sophia sat at her long oak conference table, flanked by Carmen and her top PR advisor, Gillian Marks, a sharp-eyed veteran of celebrity crises. Damage control, Sophia said, her voice low but steady. Talk to me. Gillian flipped through her tablet, pulling up headlines. It's moving fast. We're seeing hundreds of thousands of mentions per hour on socials. The story's gone international. The Real Talk preview clip is trending #1 globally. She paused, glancing at Sophia. Frankly, the public's eating this up. The sister betrayal angle is irresistible. There's sympathy for Eleanor. She's coming off raw, vulnerable. You, Gillian, hesitated, are being painted as the cold, ruthless star who abandoned her family. Sophia's jaw tightened. Of course I am. Carmen leaned in. Should we issue a counter-statement, a personal video message, humanize you? Sophia shook her head. Not yet. If I jump in now, I just add fuel. Let them speculate. But even as she spoke, a knot of dread coiled in her stomach. Because this wasn't just about gossip. Real Talk's full interview was set to air Friday, 2 days from now. Millions would tune in. If Eleanor really let loose, the fallout could be devastating. And worse, Sophia didn't know what her sister might say. The argument 5 years ago had been bitter, yes, but there were old wounds between them, older even than that night. Things only they knew. Secrets. She closed her eyes briefly. She couldn't let this spiral. She needed leverage. Get my mother, she said suddenly, on the phone. Now. Half an hour later, Vivian's face appeared on the screen. Elegant as ever, in a silk robe hair in a loose chignon, but her expression was weary. Sophia, she sighed, voice heavy with sadness. I wondered when I'd hear from you. Mother, please, Sophia began. You've seen the news. Elena, I don't know why she's doing this, but you need to talk to her. Stop her. Vivian's eyes were cool. You think I haven't tried? She won't listen to me. Not anymore. Sophia's heart sank. Vivian continued. She feels you abandoned her, Sophia, that you chose the cameras and the parties over your own blood. I never meant for this, Sophia whispered. I thought with time things would heal. Time doesn't heal what you don't face, Vivian said softly. You both built walls, and now the world's watching as they come crashing down. There was a long, aching pause. Then Vivian said quietly, you need to talk to her before Friday, before it's too late. Sophia swallowed hard. How could she even begin after so long, after so many wounds? But even as doubt filled her, she knew her mother was right. If she waited, let the interview air unchecked, the damage to her life, her career, her soul could be irreparable. She looked at Carmen and Gillian. Find her, she said. Wherever she is, I need to see my sister. Before the world does. That afternoon, her team got a lead. Elena had been seen leaving a boutique cafe in Silver Lake, her old stomping grounds. No entourage, no bodyguards, just Elena, moving through the city with her usual fiery independence. Sophia stared at the photos. She barely recognized her sister, tougher now, more striking, dressed simply but with a raw edge. Gone was the carefree girl from their youth. In her place, a woman with battle lines drawn. Sophia's fingers hovered over her phone. She could text call, But words alone wouldn't reach Eleanor now. Not after all this time, no. This needed to be face to face. "I'm going," she said, alone. Carmen blinked. "Sophia, that's risky. The press is everywhere. You'll get mobbed." "I don't care." Her tone was steel. She needs to hear this from me, not from a statement, not through the tabloids. And in her heart, beyond the media game, beyond the fear, she knew another truth. She missed her sister. She had missed her for years. And maybe, just maybe, this was her last chance to make things right. Sophia's black SUV glided through the streets of Silver Lake, tinted windows shielding her from the curious stares of onlookers. Outside, the LA afternoon was bright and sharp, the sky cloudless, too beautiful a day for the storm raging in her chest. Carmen's warnings still rang in her ears. "Risky, you'll get mobbed." But Sophia had insisted. No driver, no security. If this was going to mean anything, it had to be personal. She pulled up 2 blocks from Café Lila, where Eleanor had been spotted. Her heart thudded painfully. Could she really do this? For a moment, she almost laughed at herself. Here she was. A woman who'd walked red carpets, faced ruthless journalists, held her own with CEOs, trembling at the thought of facing her own sister. But this wasn't just any confrontation. This was 5 years of silence, grief, regret, all crashing toward her at once. She adjusted her sunglasses, took a deep breath, and stepped onto the sidewalk. Immediately, a few passers-by did double takes. Someone pointed. "Hey, isn't that..." She ignored them, quickening her pace. Time was short. Inside the cafe, it took her a moment to spot Elena. There by the window, alone, a cup of tea before her phone on the table, head down in thought. Sophia froze. In that instant, it was as if the years peeled away. She saw her little sister again, not the woman from the headlines, but the girl who used to sneak into her room late at night, giggling about crushes, making plans for the future. The girl who had once idolized her, and the girl she had lost. Steeling herself, Sophia crossed the room. Eleanor. Her sister looked up sharply, green eyes narrowing. For a beat, neither spoke. The air between them thrummed with tension. Sophia Elena said at last, voice flat. "Didn't expect to see you here. Surprised you're not too busy, you know, saving face." Sophia winced but held her ground. "I'm not here for PR, I'm here for you." A bitter smile tugged at Elena's lips. "Now you're here for me, after 5 years. Sophia slid into the chair opposite. "I know. It's been too long," she began. "And I know I've made mistakes." Elena snorted softly. "Mistakes? Is that what we're calling it now?" Sophia swallowed. "I never wanted this fight, this distance." Elena leaned forward, eyes flashing. "You made this distance, Sophia. You climbed your mountain and left the rest of us behind. You traded family for fame." Sophia's voice broke. "That's not fair." "Isn't it?" Elena shot back. "Do you even know what it was like watching you become this, watching strangers get more of you than your own sister did?" Sophia's breath caught. She wanted to argue, defend herself, but deep down she couldn't. Because part of her knew it was true. I didn't know how to balance it all," she said quietly. "I thought I was protecting you from the madness from the spotlight. But maybe I was just running." Elena's gaze softened just for a flicker, but her walls remained up. "And now you come here because you're scared, because of what I said on camera." Sophia looked her straight in the eye. "No, I came because I miss you, because I should have come sooner. And because whatever happens on that show, I needed you to hear it from me first. I'm sorry." The words hung in the air, raw, real. For a long moment, Elena said nothing. Then her voice low. "Do you even know what you're apologizing for?" Sophia blinked. For abandoning you. For letting the industry." No, Elena cut in, eyes wet now. "For making me feel like I wasn't enough. That no matter what I did, no matter how much I loved you, it didn't matter anymore once you had the world." Sophia's heart cracked. "Elena, you were always enough. You still are. For the first time, her sister's mask faltered. Tears welled. I wanted my sister back, Elena whispered. That's all I ever wanted. Sophia reached across the table, hand trembling. Then let me try, please. Elena looked at her long and hard, then slowly took her hand. But just as the fragile moment blossomed, a sharp click broke the spell. Across the cafe, a man with a phone was snapping photos, grinning. Yo, it's Sophia Hartman and her sister. Voices rose, chairs scraped, phones came out. Paparazzi were already swarming outside. Elena pulled her hand back, face hardening. See, she said bitterly, this is why. It's never just us, it's always them. Sophia stood quickly. Come with me, please. Let's talk somewhere private. But Eleanor was already shaking her head. Too late, she whispered. You can't outrun this. And before Sophia could stop her, Elena grabbed her bag and pushed through the growing crowd, vanishing out the door. Sophia stood frozen amid the chaos, her heart sinking. She had found her sister and lost her again in an instant, and the clock was still ticking toward Friday's interview. By the time Sophia made it back to her penthouse, the headlines were already multiplying. Sophia Hartman confronts, estranged sister scene turns chaotic. Paparazzi capture tense reunion between feuding Hartman sisters. Photos of her and Eleanor in the cafe were splashed across every tabloid site, already dissected by eager fans and gossip mongers alike. The internet buzzed with speculation. Had they made up? Had they fought again? Was the interview still happening? Sophia dropped her purse on the marble counter and slumped into an armchair, tension radiating through her bones. The conversation with Elena replayed on an endless loop in her mind, her sister's eyes, her voice, breaking the accusation she hadn't been able to answer. You made me feel like I wasn't enough. Gillian's voice crackled through the intercom. We need to talk. Now. Moments later, Gillian swept into the room, tablet in hand, her expression taut. I hate to say it, but this morning just poured gasoline on the fire. The media's loving this. You two in public drama, raw emotion. They'll spin it for days. I didn't plan for that to happen, Sophia said, voice hollow. I know. But perception is reality in this town, and right now the narrative is running away from us. Sophia closed her eyes. What about Friday's interview, she asked. Gillian's mouth tightened. It's still on. Elena hasn't cancelled. In fact, Real Talk just dropped a new teaser clip. She hit play. Elena appeared on screen, composed but fierce. I won't be silenced, she said. People deserve to know what fame does behind closed doors, what it does to families. The clip ended with dramatic music and a countdown clock, 2 days until the full story airs. Sophia felt the blood drain from her face. She's going to destroy me. Gillian sat across from her. Listen, we still have options. We can release our own exclusive, set the tone. Do a sit-down interview with a friendly outlet. Spin the story, show the world your side. Sophia shook her head. No, not yet. Not after today. Gillian frowned. Then what's your plan? Hope she suddenly changes her mind. Sophia hesitated, then stood determination hardening her voice. I need to try again, in person, no press, no cameras, just us. After what happened at the cafe, Gillian looked skeptical. She's hurting, and I've never really said what needed to be said. Sophia glanced toward the city lights outside. If I can just get her to hear me, maybe there's still a chance. Gillian studied her for a long moment. You really think you can fix this in 48 hours? I have to, Sophia whispered. Because if I don't, it's not just my career on the line, it's my family. What's left of it? Late that night, after endless failed calls and dead-end texts, Sophia got a breakthrough. Carmen buzzed her urgently. Elena's staying at a friend's place in Topanga. I got an address. Sophia's pulse quickened. Set up a driver. I'm going. Carmen hesitated. Are you sure alone? Yes. This wasn't about optics anymore or PR strategy. This was about her sister and a bond that fame had almost obliterated. If there was still a thread between them, Sophia had to pull it now before it snapped forever. The road to Topanga was winding and dark, the city's neon glow fading behind as Sophia's car climbed into the hills. As they neared the house, a small, rustic place tucked beneath the trees, Sophia felt her heart hammering in her chest. She told the driver to wait at the bottom of the drive. This would be her alone. With trembling hands, she stepped up to the door and knocked. A long pause. Then the door creaked open, and there was Elena. Barefoot hair in a messy braid and oversized sweater hanging off one shoulder. For a moment, both sisters just stared. Sophia Elena said, wary, "How did you find me?" I had to, Sophia said softly. "Please, I'm not here to fight. Just talk." Elena's gaze flickered, suspicion, curiosity, old pain all swirling together. Then, with a sigh, she stepped aside. 5 minutes, she said. "That's all you get." Sophia swallowed. 5 minutes to save everything. She stepped inside, unsure if she could, but knowing she had to try. The door clicked shut behind her, leaving the world outside. For the first time in years, Sophia stood inside a room with her sister. No entourage, no paparazzi, no cameras. Just the two of them and the ghosts they both carried. The house was small, cozy, a lived-in place of warmth and shadows. Books stacked on shelves, a record player in the corner. A framed photo on the mantel caught Sophia's eye, the two of them as teenagers' arms flung around each other laughing. Sophia's throat tightened. Elena moved to the kitchen, filling a glass of water. "You've got 4 minutes left," she said coolly. Sophia took a deep breath. "I know I hurt you," she began, voice trembling. "I let the fame, the attention, pull me away from you. And for years I told myself I could fix it later, that we'd have time." Elena crossed her arms. "And now that your time's running out now, you're here." Sophia winced. "That's fair," she admitted. "Maybe I should have come sooner. I was afraid, ashamed." She met her sister's gaze. "But I'm here now. Because none of this, the shows, the headlines, the awards, none of it means anything without you." Elena's expression wavered, but only for a second. "You think that's enough?" she whispered. "You think words fix 5 years of silence?" "No," Sophia said, "but maybe it's a start." The clock ticked between them, heavy with everything unsaid. Elena Sophia pleaded, "I don't want you to do this interview. Not for my career, for us. Once it airs, there's no going back. Please, let's find another way." Eleanor looked away, blinking fast. "You think this is easy for me?" she shot back. "Do you know how long I've carried this being, your forgotten sister? The one the world never sees." Her voice broke. "I didn't do this for money or fame. I did it because I was tired of being invisible, of pretending like it didn't matter." Sophia stepped closer. "It matters," she whispered. "You matter. You always did." A tear slipped down Elena's cheek. "But it was never enough," she said. "Not for you. Not once the world loved you more than I did." Sophia's own tears blurred her vision. "That's not true," she choked. "You were the first person who ever believed in me, and somewhere along the way, I forgot what mattered most." She reached out, tentative. "I'm so sorry, Lena, for everything." For a long, breathless moment, Eleanor didn't move. Then slowly her fingers brushed Sophia's. A spark of hope flickered. But before the moment could blossom, a phone buzzed loudly on the counter. Eleanor glanced at it, cursed under her breath. "Damn it, they're here." Sophia frowned. "Who?" But even as she asked, a knock pounded at the door. Voices rose outside, male insistent. "Real Talk's crew. They tracked me down," Elena said bitterly. "They want more footage before Friday." Sophia's heart sank. "They can't." But Elena was already moving. "This is my life now, Sophia. You made it this way." Another knock, louder this time. Eleanor wiped her face, steeling herself. "You should go." Sophia caught her arm. "Please, Lena, don't let them do this. You still have a choice." Elena hesitated, torn, but the knock came again. I can't," she whispered. Her eyes shimmered with anguish, then hardened again. Sophia's heart shattered. "Then I'll be here," she whispered. "When you're ready." Elena said nothing. Slowly, painfully, Sophia turned and slipped out the back door into the shadows. As she fled into the night, her sister's voice echoed behind her. "You were the one who left first, Sophia. Remember that." And as her car sped away into the dark hills, Sophia knew the storm wasn't over. It was only beginning. Sophia barely remembered the ride back down the canyon roads. The city below pulsed with light and life, but inside her SUV the world felt hollow. The conversation with Eleanor haunted her, the glimpse of vulnerability, the bitter final words. "You were the one who left first, Sophia. Remember that." She closed her eyes, her head pounding. She'd tried. God, she'd tried. But 5 years of wounds weren't so easily healed, especially with the cameras still circling the interview looming closer by the hour. When she reached the penthouse, Carmen was waiting. "Well?" she asked anxiously. Sophia sank onto the couch, exhaustion pressing down. "She's going through with it," she whispered. "I couldn't stop her." Carmen's face darkened. "I'm so sorry, Sophia." Sophia rubbed her temples. They were at the house already. Real talk. Hounding her. She's trapped. The more they push, the harder she pushes back. She exhaled, her voice ragged. "And I'm the reason she's trapped in the first place." Carmen knelt beside her, placing a gentle hand on her arm. "You can't shoulder all of this. Fame. This world. It warps everything. It's not all your fault. But I let it happen," Sophia whispered. "I built my life up so high I couldn't see what I was losing." Carmen looked at her with quiet sympathy. "You still have a choice. We can get ahead of this. Release your story. Show them the truth before Friday." But Sophia shook her head. "No more spin, no more pretending." Her gaze hardened. "If I speak, it won't be for the press. It'll be for Elena, and if that's not enough." She swallowed hard. "Then maybe I deserve to lose everything." The next morning brought no respite. The entertainment networks had a field day with the cafe photos and the leaked rumours about her late-night visit to Eleanor's. Sophia Hartman, desperate to save her image. Sister drama escalates. Ahead of Real Talk, bombshell. Calls poured in, reporters, producers, old friends from the industry, all wanting a piece of the unfolding drama. Sophia ignored them all. Her mind was consumed with one thought. What will Eleanor say on Friday? And beneath that, a deeper fear. How much of it will be true? By noon, Carmen rushed in with urgent news. Elena's interview, they're airing an extended teaser tonight. Prime time. Sophia's blood turned cold. "They're baiting us," Carmen said, grimly, "trying to force your hand. We can still do that counter-interview if you want." But Sophia stood abruptly. "No, if I'm going to face this, it won't be from behind a studio desk." She paced the room, thinking furiously. And then an idea. A long shot, but maybe her only chance. "Get me Vivian," she said. "My mother. I need her help." Carmen blinked. "You think she's the only one left Eleanor might listen to?" That evening, Vivian arrived elegant as ever, though her eyes showed the strain of the past week. She embraced Sophia softly. "Oh, my girl," she murmured. "This is breaking my heart." Sophia led her to the sitting room, voice shaking. "Mother, I need you to talk to her, please. Not for me, for her. She's drowning and she doesn't even see it." Vivian's gaze was sad, but knowing. "She's angry, Sophia, and hurt, but under all that, she still loves you. I know it." Sophia gripped her mother's hands. "Then help me reach her. Before Friday, before this goes too far." Vivian nodded slowly. "I'll do what I can." That night, as the teaser aired, Sophia sat alone, wine untouched, beside her. The screen flickered with dramatic music, close-up shots of Eleanor fierce defiant, and then her voice. "For too long, I stayed silent. But not anymore. People deserve to know what really happened, what fame did to my family, and to my sister. The segment ended with ominous music, the Friday countdown ticking down 36 hours to airtime. Sophia's heart pounded. It was happening. And unless her mother could break through, unless some miracle occurred, the world was about to see her family's pain laid bare. She stared at the screen, her reflection faint in the glass. How had it come to this? And how much more was there still to lose? The night dragged on in restless waves. Sophia couldn't sleep. She paced the penthouse lights, dimmed her mind, a constant reel of doubts and regrets. What could she have done differently? Could she still stop this? Her phone buzzed just after midnight. Vivian. Sophia snatched it up, breathless. "Mother." "I just spoke to her," Vivian said softly. "She's hurting Sophia, but she's listening more than she lets on." Sophia's heart surged with hope. "Did you tell her about what this could do to us?" "I told her everything," Vivian said. "That this story, once it's out there, can't be undone. That no matter how justified she feels, it will tear what's left of this family apart." Sophia swallowed hard. And a pause. She didn't say she'd cancel, Vivian admitted, but she's thinking about it. A fragile hope flickered in Sophia's chest. "I need to see her again," she whispered, "before it's too late." "I'll try to arrange it," Vivian said. "But be ready, Sophia. She may not give you the answer you want." Sophia nodded, even though her heart ached. "I'll be ready." The next morning, Thursday, dawned clear but cold. The city hummed with anticipation. Headlines screamed about the impending interview. Countdown to Hartman family. Bombshell 1 day to go. Will Sophia Hartman finally fall from grace? Sophia barely noticed them. She spent the morning in a haze of memories, scrolling through old photos, old messages from Eleanor that she'd once ignored, too busy with galas and red carpets. Now every word, every missed moment cut deep. At noon, Carmen hurried in. Elena agreed. One more meeting. This afternoon. Private. No cameras. Sophia stood heart-pounding. Where? Vivian's house. She convinced her. Sophia's breath caught. This was her last shot. She dressed. Simply jeans sweater. No makeup. No designer labels. Today wasn't about appearances. It was about truth, about her sister. Vivian's house sat nestled in the hills, ivy curling along old stone walls, the garden blooming with wild roses. It had been years since Sophia last visited. Too many years. She arrived alone, nerves fraying with every step. Vivian opened the door, her expression soft with worry. "She's here," she said, "in the garden." Sophia crossed the house, her heart thundering louder with each step. And then there she was. Elena sat on an old wrought iron bench beneath a canopy of roses' legs, tucked beneath her, a book in her lap. She looked up as Sophia approached, wary, tired, but present. Sophia stopped a few feet away, breath-catching. "Lena," she said softly. "Thank you for coming." Elena closed the book. "I'm not promising anything," she said quietly. "I'm here because of Mom." "I know," Sophia said, "and I'm grateful." She stepped closer. "I'm not here to beg you to cancel the interview," she said. "You have every right to tell your truth." Elena's brows rose in surprise. "Then why are you here?" Sophia swallowed her voice, trembling. "To tell you mine. The truth I've never said. Not to the press. Not to anyone." She took a deep breath. "When fame came, I thought I was doing what was best. I told myself that if I worked hard enough, built a big enough life, I could fix everything, provide for us, protect you from the ugliness of this world." Her voice broke. "But the truth is, I was running. I was terrified of losing it all, of being nobody again. And in that fear, I pushed you away." She met her sister's gaze, eyes shimmering. "I didn't mean to leave you behind. I didn't mean to make you feel invisible, but I did, and I will regret that for the rest of my life." Tears slipped down Elena's cheeks, silent, shimmering. "I needed you," she whispered, "and you weren't there." Sophia knelt before her, raw and bare. "I'm here now. Not as the celebrity, not as the star, just your sister. and I will do whatever it takes to fix this." Eleanor wiped her eyes, voice breaking. "You can't undo the past, Soph." "I know," Sophia whispered, "but maybe we can write a new future. Together." The silence between them was heavy with years of pain, but also with a fragile hope. Finally, Eleanor looked away, voice shaking. "I don't know if I'm ready, but I don't want to lose you either." Sophia's breath hitched. "Then let's start there," she whispered. Elena nodded slowly. Then, after a long pause, "I need time to think. About tomorrow. About everything." Sophia rose, tears streaming freely now. "Take all the time you need. I'll be here." She reached out, and this time Elena didn't pull away. Their fingers twined, tentative, fragile. But for the first time in 5 years, they weren't divided by anger. There was still hope. Sophia left her mother's house just before sunset, the sky painted in soft pinks and golds. She drove herself, this time, no driver, no assistant, her hands trembling on the wheel. The conversation with Eleanor echoed in her mind, each word replaying in sharp relief. "I don't want to lose you either." It wasn't a promise, not yet, but it was more than she had dared hope for. As the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the city, Sophia pulled over at an overlook, gazing out at the sprawl of Los Angeles below. This city had given her everything, the fame, the fortune, the life she'd built. And yet it had taken so much more. For years, she had chased success with single-minded obsession. She'd believed that if she could just reach the top, it would all be worth it. But now, staring at the skyline, she saw it clearly. None of it meant anything without the people she loved, without Elena. She closed her eyes, taking a long, shuddering breath. Tomorrow would decide everything. Would her sister go through with the interview? Would the world see the worst version of her, the cold, distant star who abandoned her own blood? Or was there still a chance to repair what fame had broken? Sophia didn't know, but she knew one thing. Whatever happened next, she would face it not as Sophia Hartman, celebrity, but as a sister seeking forgiveness. Back at the penthouse, Carmen and Gillian were waiting. "You look different," Carmen said softly. Sophia gave a tired smile. "I feel different." Gillian tapped her tablet. "The networks are amping up for tomorrow," she warned. "We've got producers calling talk shows, begging for exclusives. If you want to respond, we need to move tonight." But Sophia shook her head. No more games, no press, no spin. She looked at them both, her voice clear. "This isn't about my image anymore. It's about my sister, my family. If Eleanor speaks tomorrow, I'll face it. And if she doesn't, then we start healing. Privately." Gillian hesitated, then nodded. Carmen squeezed her hand. "Proud of you," she whispered. Sophia smiled faintly, but beneath it all, her heart was a storm of nerves. Later that night, unable to sleep, Sophia sat alone in her study, scrolling through old photos. There they were, 2 little girls, arms linked at the beach. Elena's sweet 16 Sophia beaming as she held the cake. A blurry selfie from years ago, both of them laughing so hard they couldn't breathe. Tears blurred Sophia's vision. How had they come so far from those moments? Her phone buzzed. A text. Her breath caught. "Elena, I've been thinking, can we meet before the interview? Just us." Sophia's heart pounded. Her fingers trembled as she typed back. "Of course, anytime, anywhere." A few seconds passed. Then another text. "Tomorrow morning, Mom's house, 8 a.m. Sophia exhaled a shaky breath. It wasn't a promise to cancel, it wasn't forgiveness, but it was hope, and it was more than she'd had the day before. As dawn approached, Sophia finally drifted into a restless sleep. She dreamt of her sister, the 2 of them, as children running through a field of wildflowers, laughing in the sun. And for the first time in years, a fragile thread of peace settled over her heart. Tomorrow would bring answers, one way or another. Sophia was awake before the first light of dawn. She stood on her balcony, wrapped in a soft robe, the city still shrouded in mist. The early hour was quiet, no helicopters, no paparazzi, just a fragile stillness before the storm. She had barely slept, her mind racing with what the morning would bring. Elena's message had stirred both hope and dread. A meeting, just the two of them. One final conversation before the world decided their fate. Sophia dressed simply again, no designer labels, no makeup. Just jeans, a loose sweater, and her hair tied back. She wasn't going as a star today. She was going as a sister. The drive to her mother's house was quiet, the streets empty in the early dawn. Sophia gripped the wheel nerves tightening in her chest with every passing mile. She replayed every word she wanted to say, every apology she hadn't spoken. But no script felt good enough, because this wasn't something she could polish or prepare for. It had to be real. And in her heart, she knew whatever happened in the next hour could change everything. Vivian greeted her at the door, looking both anxious and hopeful. "She's in the garden," her mother said softly. Sophia nodded, her throat too tight to speak. She walked through the familiar old house heart pounding in her ears. And then she stepped into the garden, and there was Eleanor, sitting on the same bench beneath the roses, her arms wrapped around herself, gaze distant. Sophia swallowed hard and approached slowly. "Lena." Elena looked up, eyes shadowed but calm. "You came," she said quietly. "I said I would." A long pause hung between them. Then Eleanor patted the bench beside her. Sophia sat, her hands trembling. For a moment, neither spoke, just sat together in the cool morning air, the scent of roses drifting between them. Finally, Eleanor broke the silence. "I couldn't sleep," she whispered. "All night I kept thinking, is this what I really want? For the whole world to know our pain." Sophia's voice was raw. "I just want what's right for you, whatever that is. I won't beg. I won't guilt you. I just needed you to know that." Eleanor's gaze flickered. "You're different," she said softly. "Not like before." Sophia nodded, tears burning her eyes. "I've been a fool, Lena. I chased all the wrong things. I thought I was protecting you, protecting myself, but all I did was lose you." She swallowed hard. "And if I could trade it all, the fame, the fortune, every red carpet to have my sister back, I would." Elena looked away, blinking fast. "I wanted to hate you," she whispered. "It was easier than facing how much I missed you." Sophia's heart ached. "I missed you too, every day." The morning light grew brighter around them, the city stirring in the distance. Elena took a shaky breath. "I don't know what to do," she admitted. "Part of me still wants to tell the world to finally be heard. But another part knows it would destroy what little we have left." Sophia reached out, taking her sister's hand gently. "Then let's find another way," she said, "together. Not through cameras, not through headlines, just us." Elena's fingers tightened around hers. A long, trembling breath escaped her lips. "I'll cancel the interview," she whispered. Sophia's eyes filled with tears. "Lena, you don't have to do that for me. I'm doing it for us," Elena said softly, "because for the first time, I believe you mean it." Sophia pulled her into a fierce embrace, tears streaming freely. "I love you," she whispered, "and I'm going to prove that every day from now on." Elena clung to her voice, shaking. "I want my sister back. Not the celebrity, not the headlines, just you." "You have me," Sophia whispered, "always." Hours later, the news broke. Sophia Hartman cancels bombshell interview family to reconcile privately. The media spun with speculation, but Sophia didn't care. For the first time in years, her heart felt lighter. She wasn't naive. She knew the road ahead would be long, that rebuilding trust would take time. But as she sat with Eleanor and their mother that afternoon, laughter finally breaking through the years of pain, she knew one thing for certain. This was the first step, and it was worth everything. By late afternoon, the headlines were everywhere. Sophia Hartman pulls out of interview sisters reunite in private. Shock decision, will the Hartman family drama ever be told? The entertainment network scrambled hosts, speculating endlessly. Had Sophia pressured her sister? Had a secret deal been made behind closed doors? But for once, Sophia ignored the noise. She spent the day in her mother's house in the garden with Eleanor. There were no cameras, no staged photos, just two sisters slowly bridging a chasm 5 years deep. They talked for hours about everything, about their childhood, about the years apart, about the bitter loneliness that had haunted them, both hidden behind fame and resentment. At one point, Eleanor laughed through her tears. "You know, I thought I hated you," she admitted, "but really, I just missed you so damn much." Sophia squeezed her hand, voice trembling. "I missed you too, more than I ever let myself admit." Vivian watched them from the kitchen window, a soft smile on her lips. Her girls, finally finding their way back to each other. Of course, the outside world wasn't so quick to move on. Gillian called later that evening. "You're trending globally," she said. "Everyone's desperate to know why she cancelled." Sophia sighed. "Let them wonder." Gillian hesitated. "You're sure you don't want to issue a statement? Control the narrative?" But Sophia's answer was firm. "No more spin. The only person I needed to hear me already has." That night, after dinner, Eleanor and Sophia sat on the porch beneath the stars, a bottle of wine between them. For the first time in so long, there was no tension, no bitterness, just a fragile, growing trust. Eleanor poured another glass and gave a wry smile. "You know, you've changed," she said. Sophia laughed softly. It took almost losing everything to see what mattered. A pause. "Do you think we can really start over?" she asked, voice quiet. Elena met her gaze. "We can try," she said. "It won't be perfect, but I want my sister back. Not the one from the magazines, the real one." Sophia's eyes shimmered. "I want that too, more than anything." The next morning, Carmen arrived to find Sophia at the kitchen table, looking peaceful, different. "So, it's really over?" Carmen asked. Sophia smiled softly. "No, it's just beginning." And in her heart, for the first time in years, she truly believed it. In the days that followed, Sophia kept a low profile. No press events, no public statements, just time with Elena, with her mother, with herself. She knew the headlines would eventually move on. Already newer scandals were taking over the feeds. But for Sophia, the real work was only beginning. One morning, while the city still slept, she drove to a quiet part of town, a small, nondescript therapy office recommended by her mother. No cameras followed her this time. No one cared where the fallen star had gone. But Sophia wasn't doing this for the world. She was doing it for herself. And for Elena. The therapist, a calm woman named Dr. Patel, listened without judgment as Sophia poured out the story, the rise to fame, the endless hunger for approval, the guilt, the distance that had grown between her and Eleanor. "How did you feel?" Dr. Patel asked gently the moment you realized what you'd lost. Sophia swallowed hard. "Like I was drowning," she whispered. "I had everything and nothing, and what do you want now?" Sophia didn't hesitate. Not to be perfect, not to be adored, just to be a sister again, to be worthy of her trust. Dr. Patel nodded softly. "That's a good place to start." Meanwhile, Elena was finding her own way forward. The cancelled interview had stirred a storm of offers, talk shows, podcasts, book deals. Agents and producers called, constantly offering Money Fame everything she'd once thought she wanted. But now those offers felt hollow. She forwarded one particularly aggressive email to Sophia with a laughing emoji. "Guess they didn't get the memo," Sophia replied instantly. "Ignore them. We're rewriting this story together." Slowly, tentatively, the sisters began rebuilding their bond. It wasn't always easy. There were moments of awkward silence. Old wounds resurfaced. But there was also laughter, hesitant at first, then freer. Long walks through the old neighbourhoods, quiet dinners at their mother's house, and one afternoon as they browsed an old photo album together, Elena said softly. You really meant it, didn't you? Sophia met her gaze. Every word. Elena smiled. Then, maybe we'll be okay after all. Sophia's heart swelled. I hope so. More than anything. But not everyone was content to let the past lie. One evening, Carmen brought news. Some gossip blogs are digging again. Rumours about why Elena cancelled. About your mental state. Even your mother. Sophia's jaw tightened. Let them. We won't give them anything. But what if they twist it, make it worse? Carmen asked. Sophia shook her head. They can only twist what we feed them, and I'm done feeding that machine. It wasn't easy. In a world addicted to scandal, walking away from the spotlight meant risking irrelevance. But Sophia no longer cared about relevance. What mattered now was healing. And for the first time in years, the path ahead felt real. Late one night, as she sat on her balcony, Eleanor texted, "Thank you for fighting for me, for us." Sophia's heart ached with love and regret, she replied. Always, and I always will. By the end of the week, Sophia felt something she hadn't known in years calm. Not the numbing stillness that came from overwork or media distractions, but the kind that crept in after confronting your worst fears and surviving. She and Eleanor were still walking on delicate ground. Trust once broken doesn't spring back overnight. But the frost had thawed. They were talking, laughing even, making plans. And in Hollywood, where relationships were often transactional and shallow, that alone felt miraculous. One quiet morning, Sophia found herself at the edge of the beach in Malibu, far from paparazzi spots where she and Eleanor used to run as girls. The ocean was a deep, steel grey waves rolling in with slow persistence. Elena arrived a few minutes later, her windbreaker zipped to the chin eyes bright against the salt-laced wind. I almost didn't come, she admitted. Sophia smiled. I wasn't sure you would. They began walking in silence. The sand was cool beneath their feet, the surf hissing nearby. You were everywhere, you know, Elena said suddenly. Billboards, magazines. Every time I opened a browser, you were there smiling and I felt like I was being erased. Sophia stopped walking. I'm sorry. Elena glanced at her, then looked away. I wanted to be proud of you, but I hated that the world cared more about your dress at the Met Gala than anything I was doing. Sophia's voice cracked. It wasn't fair to you. I should have seen it, should have reached out. I got lost in it all. They stood there for a long moment, wind tugging at their hair. You were scared, Elena said at last. I see that now. You thought if you let go of work of control, everything would fall apart. Sophia nodded, and it did anyway. But maybe that needed to happen, Elena said, so we could get here. That night, Sophia invited Elena over for dinner at her penthouse the first time since the falling out. No chefs, no stylists, just pasta red wine and a playlist of songs from their childhood. They curled up on the couch afterward, flipping through Netflix options, half watching and half talking. Remember when we used to sneak downstairs after Mum went to bed? Elena asked. Watch movies until sunrise. You always wanted practical magic. You always cried when Sandra Bullock got arrested. Sophia chuckled. Still do. They fell into a comfortable silence. Then Elena asked something unexpected. Do you ever think about walking away? From what? The whole industry, all of it. Just leaving. Sophia took a long breath, all the time she admitted. Elena looked surprised. Really? It's like, the more I had, the emptier I felt, like I was building a mansion on sand. Elena sipped her wine. So why stay? Sophia looked at her thoughtfully. I think I'm trying to figure that out. But if I stay, it'll be on my own terms this time. That weekend, they visited Vivian again and found her in the garden, humming as she pruned a row of lavender. She turned and saw them approaching together, side by side. Her hands dropped to her sides, eyes misting. Oh, girls, she whispered. They embraced all three of them tightly. We're okay, Sophia whispered in her ear. We're finding our way back. Vivian smiled and her tears spilled freely. That's all I've ever wanted. Later that night, back at her penthouse, Sophia got an unexpected email. The subject line, an offer you might not want to ignore. It was from a major streaming platform, a documentary pitch. The real Sophia Hartman, the truth behind the headlines. A raw, no-holds-barred docuseries. Full creative control. Personal narrative. Reclaiming the story. Carmen forwarded it with a note. You said you were ready to tell your side. Maybe this is the way. Sophia stared at the screen. She didn't need the fame anymore. But maybe, just maybe, this was a way to turn the past into something honest and healing. She picked up her phone and texted Eleanor. You still want to tell our story on our terms. Elena replied in less than a minute. Only if we do it together. The following morning, Sophia met Carmen at a quiet cafe in Silver Lake. No paparazzi, no fans. Just two old friends seated in a sunny corner, surrounded by the aroma of fresh coffee and baked goods. Carmen looked impressed as Sophia slid the pitch deck across the table. They're serious about this, Carmen said after a quick skim. Creative Control Final Cut, no editorial interference. That's rare. Sophia stirred her tea absently. It's tempting, but I won't do it alone. Eleanor. Sophia nodded. She said she's open. If we tell the real story, the whole story, not some Hollywood gloss job. Carmen leaned in. You really think the world's ready to hear that? I don't care if they are, Sophia replied. This time, I'm not doing it for them, I'm doing it for us. Later that afternoon, Sophia and Eleanor met again, this time at a cozy indie bookstore, a favourite haunt from their teens. They curled into an overstuffed couch in the back corner, coffee cups in hand, the pitch deck between them. Sophia watched Elena read through the pages carefully, the series concept, the tone, the proposed episode breakdown. When Eleanor finally looked up, her expression was thoughtful. This could actually be good, she admitted, if we control it. Sophia nodded. That's the only way I'd do it. A pause. But are you ready for the attention again? Elena asked quietly. It won't just be about me anymore. They'll dig into everything. Sophia took a breath. I've spent years running from that, hiding behind PR and spin, but maybe facing it is the only way to move on. Elena studied her for a long moment, then gave a small smile. Okay, let's do it, together. Sophia felt something shift inside her, a weight lifting. For the first time, they weren't just reacting to the media's version of their lives. They were taking the reins. Carmen set up a call with the streaming execs the next day. Elena joined via Zoom, both sisters seated side by side in Sophia's living room. The execs, clearly thrilled, laid out their vision. A 4-part docuseries, blending interviews, archival footage, and candid new material. Not just about Sophia's rise and fall, but the deeper human story, family, ambition, reconciliation. Sophia listened carefully, her hand resting lightly on Eleanor's knee. When they asked for her thoughts, Sophia said simply, "We'll tell it, but only in our words. No fabricated drama, no fake villains. The real story, flaws and all." The execs readily agreed, and just like that it was happening. News of the deal leaked within 24 hours. Hartman sisters sign exclusive docuseries deal. The real story behind Hollywood's most talked about family feud. The media circus roared back to life. But this time Sophia felt calm. For once, she was steering the ship. In the weeks that followed, production began in earnest. Interviews were scheduled, old footage and family photos were unearthed. The hardest part was reliving the most painful moments, the years of silence, the bitterness, the mistakes. But sitting beside Elena in those long interview sessions, Sophia found strength she hadn't known she possessed. And as they filmed, something beautiful happened. The more they spoke their truth, the more their bond healed. One evening, after a grueling shoot, Elena leaned against her with a tired smile. "You know, this might actually help people," she said softly. Sophia wrapped an arm around her. "I hope so, but even if it only helps us, that's enough." Word spread quickly in the industry. The Hartman sisters were back, but not as rivals or tabloid fodder, as partners, as a family. And for Sophia, that was worth more than any award, any headline, any red carpet in the world. As filming for the docuseries progressed, Sophia and Eleanor found themselves facing moments they had long avoided. Old video clips from childhood, forgotten letters, recorded phone calls from the darkest times of their estrangement. At first, the weight of those memories was suffocating. During one interview session, as they reviewed footage of a particularly brutal tabloid segment from years ago, Sophia had to step out, her hands shaking. She stood alone on the terrace outside the studio, gulping in deep breaths of cool air. Elena followed moments later. "You okay?" she asked softly. Sophia wiped her eyes. "I didn't realize how much of it still hurts." Elena leaned against the railing beside her. "Me too, but we're not those people anymore." Sophia looked at her gratitude in her eyes. "Thank you for doing this with me." Elena offered a small smile. "We both need this." Word of the project began generating buzz across Hollywood and beyond. The tone was different this time. Not scandal chasing, but curiosity, respect. Hartman sisters aim for healing in new docuseries, not a takedown, a candid portrait of family fame and forgiveness. Sophia was invited onto a major morning show to discuss the project. She almost declined, but Carmen persuaded her. "This is your chance to show them the real you, not the headlines, not the rumours." Sophia agreed, and when she appeared on screen, no glittering gown, no Hollywood polish, just a simple dress and a clear voice, audiences were captivated. Fame can give you everything, she said, but it can also strip away what matters most. "I lost my way. I hurt people I love." This series isn't about blame, it's about understanding and healing. Social media lit up, and for the first time in years, the tone was overwhelmingly supportive. Meanwhile, Eleanor was coming into her own. The experience of speaking her truth on her terms was empowering. She began writing again, essays, memoir, fragments, pieces she'd long kept hidden. Sophia encouraged her. "You have a voice, Lena, a powerful one. You should use it." And for once, Elena believed her. One evening, after another day of filming, the sisters sat on Sophia's balcony overlooking the city. Lights glittered below them, distant and quiet. "It's strange," Elena mused. "For years I thought if the cameras ever came back into our lives, it would destroy us again. But this feels different." Sophia nodded. "Because we're not pretending anymore." A pause. "You know," Elena added, Mom said something today. She told me how proud she is of both of us for finally breaking the cycle. Sophia's heart swelled. "Let's keep doing that," she said softly. "Not just for us, for her. For everyone watching who's ever been torn apart by this world." Elena raised her glass. "To healing and to sisters." Sophia clinked hers gently. "To us." As the release date for the docuseries approached, Sophia felt a growing tension beneath her calm exterior. The platform had locked in a global premiere, 4 episodes to be dropped at once. Carmen and Gillian worked overtime, managing the press fielding dozens of interview requests. The public had watched Sophia fall from her pedestal. Now they were eager to see her version of the truth. And not all were rooting for her redemption. The early reviews began trickling in from advanced screeners, surprisingly raw and honest, a rare glimpse behind the Hollywood facade. Hartman's courage in confronting her mistakes is commendable. A compelling story of sisterhood, ambition, and reconciliation, but will it be enough to change public perception? But some critics were less forgiving. A PR move disguised as authenticity. Too little, too late. Sophia read the reviews late one night in bed, her heart pounding. Elena texted moments later, "Ignore the cynics. You know what this means to us." Sophia smiled softly. "You're right. We did this for us, not them." On the night before the premiere, the sisters gathered at Vivian's house. No red carpet, no glamorous viewing party. Just family and Carmen, who had become practically family herself. Vivian prepared a simple meal. The mood was warm, a bit anxious. As the first episode streamed on the big screen, no one spoke. Sophia watched herself on camera, the tears, the raw confessions, the moments of regret and hope. When the screen faded to black at the end of the first episode, silence hung in the room. Then Vivian wiped her eyes. "I'm so proud of you both," she whispered. "So proud." Elena looked at Sophia, her smile soft but steady. "We told the truth," she said. "That's what matters." Sophia reached for her hand. Together. The next morning, headlines flooded the internet. The Hartman docuseries drops viewers praise honest portrayal. Sisters rebuild their bond. On screen, a must-watch. Audience reactions were overwhelmingly positive. This was beautiful, raw, real. I cried. Sophia owned her mistakes. That takes courage. Eleanor is incredible, so much grace and honesty. Even some former critics softened their tone. And as Sophia scrolled through comments, her heart swelled, not from ego, but from relief. The story had landed. The truth had been heard. Later that afternoon, she met Elena for lunch at a quiet cafe. Fans approached them politely, warmly. One woman, middle-aged, eyes misty, stopped at their table. "Thank you," she said softly. "My sister and I haven't spoken in years. Watching you two gave me hope." After she left, Elena looked at Sophia, her voice quiet. "We did this for us," she said. "But maybe we did it for others too." Sophia reached across the table, squeezing her sister's hand. "That's more than I ever dreamed." In the weeks following the docuseries release, something extraordinary happened, not in the form of awards or media deals, but in the subtle, meaningful shifts in Sophia's life. People no longer stopped her just for selfies or gossip. Now they came up with stories, real ones. At a book signing for a young author, Elena mentored an older man, approached Sophia quietly. "I watched your series," he said. "Called my brother after 10 years. Thank you." Moments like that, they mattered more than any headline ever had. Meanwhile, Elena's star was rising in a new way, not as the sister of, but as her own person. Her writing raw essays about fame, family, forgiveness was being published in major outlets. Editors began calling. A book offer followed. Sophia encouraged her at every step. "This is your time now," she told her. "Your voice." Elena smiled. "Our voice. We did this together." One sunny morning, the sisters met at a local park. No entourage, no press. Just two women finally at peace. They sat beneath a blooming jacaranda, sipping coffee, watching kids play nearby. Sophia glanced at Eleanor. "Do you ever wish?" None of it had happened. The fame, the mess. Elena thought for a moment. Sometimes. But then we wouldn't be here. Stronger. Closer. Sophia smiled softly. "You're right. Maybe it all had to happen this way." Later that week, Carmen and Gillian met with Sophia to discuss next steps. "Your offers are through the roof," Gillian said. "Movie roles, endorsements, even a podcast series." Sophia shook her head with a small laugh. "It's funny. Now that I'm not chasing it, it's all coming." Carmen smiled knowingly. "Because you're real now. People see that." Sophia's gaze was clear. "If I take anything on, it has to fit who I am now. No more masks." "Understood," Carmen said. "We'll keep it authentic." As for Sophia's relationship with her mother, it too was healing. They spent more time together, cooking, reminiscing, even planting a new section of Vivian's beloved garden. One afternoon, as they worked side by side, Vivian looked at her daughter and said softly, "You've come a long way, my darling." Sophia's throat tightened. "I almost lost everything, Mom. But I think I've finally found what matters." Vivian smiled through misty eyes, and that's all a mother can hope for. And through it all, Sophia and Eleanor remained close. Late-night calls, weekend getaways, even small traditions, Sunday brunches with their mother. They were no longer the Hartman sisters in the public eye. They were simply Sophia and Eleanor again, and that Sophia thought was the greatest gift of all. It had been 3 months since the docuseries aired, and life, while no less busy, felt different for Sophia. More grounded, more intentional. The offers continued to roll in, but Sophia now chose her commitments carefully. No more overscheduling, no more empty public appearances. Instead, her days were filled with purpose therapy sessions, quality time with family, and a few select creative projects that spoke to her heart. And always time with Eleanor. One crisp autumn morning, Sophia and Eleanor took a drive up the coast. No plan, no cameras, just a chance to breathe. They stopped at a small cliffside cafe overlooking the ocean, wrapped in scarves, sipping hot cider. As they gazed at the waves crashing below, Eleanor said quietly, "You know I'm proud of us." Sophia turned to her, a smile spreading across her face. "Me too." They sat in silence for a while, the wind tugging at their hair. Then Elena asked, "Do you ever think about walking away from Hollywood for good?" Sophia considered the question. "Sometimes," she admitted, "but I think it's not about walking away. It's about how you show up, who you choose to be in it." Eleanor nodded thoughtfully. "I like that." Back in the city, Carmen and Gillian presented Sophia with an offer she hadn't expected. A major university wanted her to speak at their commencement ceremony. "Why me?" Sophia asked, surprised. Carmen grinned. "Because your story matters. Because you've faced the fall and come back with grace." Sophia hesitated. "I'm not perfect. That's why they want you," Gillian said. After a long pause, Sophia smiled. Then, let's do it. Preparing for the speech forced Sophia to reflect even more deeply on her journey. What had it all meant? The fame, the fall, the reconciliation. She scribbled drafts late into the night, finally landing on a simple, honest message. Success means nothing if you lose yourself in the process, but it's never too late to come back, to choose what really matters, to begin again. The day of the ceremony arrived. Standing backstage in her simple black dress, Sophia felt the familiar flutter of nerves. But this was different from the red carpets of old. This wasn't about image. This was about truth. When her name was called, the applause was warm, genuine. She stepped up to the podium, took a breath, and began to speak. She told her story, the highs, the mistakes, the lessons. And she ended with the words that now guided her life. Don't let the world define you. Find your truth. Fight for what matters. And never forget, love, family, and forgiveness are worth more than all the fame in the world. The standing ovation brought tears to her eyes, and in the audience she saw them, Eleanor and their mother, smiling proudly. Later that evening, as they celebrated over dinner, Vivian raised a glass. "To my daughters," she said, her voice thick with emotion, "for finding their way back and showing the world what true strength looks like." Elena clinked her glass with Sophia's. "To new beginnings." And Sophia smiled, her heart full. "To us." Sophia never thought she would return to the limelight on her own terms. Yet here she was, invited not for glitz, but for authenticity. A week after her commencement speech, she was asked to be part of a panel at a prestigious film festival. The topic, the price of fame and the journey to healing. Eleanor encouraged her to do it. "You've earned this," she said. "Your story helps people, and you're not the same person anymore. The world can see that," Sophia agreed. But she wasn't walking in with glam squads or PR handlers. Just Carmen, her rock through it all, and Elena at her side. The festival crowd was different from the ones Sophia had once ruled, less obsessed with fashion, more tuned to stories. When it was her turn to speak, she didn't rehearse a polished soundbite. Instead, she spoke from the heart. "I used to believe that success meant constant motion, more awards, more followers, more fame, but none of that filled the emptiness I carried inside." She glanced at Elena in the front row, who gave her a small, encouraging nod. "I almost lost the people who mattered most. I was chasing an image instead of living a life, but here's what I've learned. You can always stop. You can choose again. You can rebuild. The audience listened in silence, not the restless kind, but the kind that meant they heard her. Afterward, a young director approached her. "Thank you for what you said," she told Sophia. "We need more voices like yours, honest, vulnerable, especially for women in this industry." Sophia felt something stir inside her, a sense of purpose. She wasn't just trying to repair the past anymore. She was building a future. That night, Eleanor and Sophia sat on Sophia's balcony again, sipping tea under the stars. "You know," Elena said softly, "I used to wonder if we could ever get here, if all the pain would ever feel worth it." Sophia smiled gently. "It is, because we're here, together." Eleanor looked thoughtful. "You've changed. We both have." Sophia nodded. "Maybe that's what life is, not staying the same, but growing, evolving." A comfortable silence settled between them, and for the first time, Sophia realized she wasn't haunted by the past anymore. She wasn't running. She was living. One morning, weeks later, an unexpected email arrived. An invitation to collaborate on a foundation, one aimed at supporting young women navigating the pressures of fame and social media. Sophia forwarded it to Eleanor. "Should we?" Elena's reply was immediate. "Absolutely. Let's help others avoid what we went through." And just like that, a new chapter began. By the time summer arrived, Sophia's life had fully transformed. The documentary had become a critical success, not because of salacious details, but because of its honesty, vulnerability, and hope. Sophia was no longer the Hollywood darling nor the tabloid cautionary tale. She was something more meaningful, a woman who had faced her flaws, fought to heal her family, and chosen a better way. The foundation she and Elena launched, the Hartman Project, quickly gained traction. Workshops, mentorship programs, and safe spaces for young women in the industry were already being set up. Elena's book Breaking the Frame was in final edits and generating early buzz. And for Sophia, each success felt richer, not because of public acclaim, but because she was building something real. One afternoon, while preparing for a panel event at the Foundation's first major conference, Sophia received a surprise message from her old agent Quinn. "Saw the doc, saw the speech. You've changed. Proud of you." For a long moment, Sophia stared at the message, a reminder of the life she'd once chased so desperately. Then, smiling softly, she typed back, "Thank you. I've finally found what matters." The conference was a resounding success. Young women approached Sophia and Eleanor, sharing their own struggles and hopes. More than once, Sophia found her throat tightening as she listened. She could see versions of her younger self in these girls, hungry for approval, uncertain of their worth, vulnerable to a world that often devoured innocence. And now, finally, she had something real to offer them. Perspective, hope, a path forward. That evening, as the sisters relaxed on Sophia's balcony, watching the city glow in the warm twilight, Eleanor spoke quietly. "You know I'm proud of you, not for the fame, for this." Sophia smiled heart full. "I'm proud of us. We did this together." Eleanor squeezed her hand, and this time, we'll never lose each other again. Months later, on a crisp autumn day, Sophia stood in the garden at their mother's house. Vivian had insisted on planting new roses, a symbol of new beginnings. As Sophia and Eleanor helped with the planting, Vivian smiled. "My beautiful girls," she said softly, "look how far you've come." Sophia looked at her sister, then at the life blooming around them. "Yes," she said, "and the best part is, we're